Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle with me and my pal SurrealBeliefs. How are you doing, Surreal?
Hello, that is me. I'm doing quite well. I'm currently shooting at a scary boogie monster, and I'm quite petrified by it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're called what'd you call it? Doesn't matter. What is your army that you brought today?
Alright, well today I brought in a dwarf build, and unlike our counterparts here, the vampire counts and the Imperial player, I decided to bring in an army of melee-centric dwarves here. We like to drink our ale, we like to shoot things, and we believe in freedom, I think. Alright, well, anyway, I brought in a bunch of dwarf warriors, and I wanted to reinforce them by having the long beards. They're older dwarfs, and they can reinforce them with their aura, because they're old grumblers. It's a trait they have. And then I brought in one Ironbreaker group, because they are incredible, but they are a fine tool to be used on their own. I brought in a runesmith, because they are incredible. You should bring one in every dwarf army ever. I am team runesmith for sure. I brought in a flame cannon because they have been buffed up, but unfortunately on a bigger map it's kind of hard to use them. And I brought in a cannon. What did you bring?
I also brought in a flame cannon because I wanted to try it. I brought in 2 Ironbreakers with flamethrowers. I brought in some dwarf warriors, 2 thunderers, a runesmith because I'm also team runesmith. I brought a generic dwarf lord. We also have a couple miners with blasting charges and a couple longbeards again because you said they are the old grumblers, and that is really nice trait to have. And right now we're just trying to get into a position to fight off these vampire counts that are coming at you.
And I'm gonna let you know, I was tired and I was not in a good mood about what was going on here. I felt crushed. I felt like I was about to be touched in inappropriate ways, and they began to charge forward. The vampire count player had a lot more maneuverability than I did. His terror guys came in already in the very beginning, took out a cannon, and I'm being flanked. They have a lot of black knights. Now, again, I was the one going, no man, it's all over. And Tokshen was like, no, it is fine, my child. And I'm beginning to shoot at the terror guys now. Yeah, it's true.
That is exactly what I said. I remember there was a bunch of screaming going on in the team speak, and I was like, who is that? Oh, that's Surreal screaming. And he was begging for my help. And I said, listen, Grasshopper, you're going to be fine. So much so that I believed in you that I didn't even make my dwarves run. They are walking to try and reinforce you right now because I know you could take it. But for real though, I am getting a group of Thunderers in position to shoot those Black Knights that are currently hounding your cannons. That is what I'm doing.
And I already killed the Terrorgeist. I mean, I shot it down completely. Even my Flame Cannon was able to hit it a bit. He did use the Curse of Years on me, which is definitely not fun. And I wonder if there's a way to get rid of those effects when you do cast a spell, because man, they are distracting when you actually want to look at the battlefield. Like that big glowing circle. I hate that. It's just ugly to look at.
It is really ugly to look at. It provides nice tactical information. You know something's going down. But yeah, I do wish you could get rid of them. Look at your Flame Cannon. Get a lot of shots on these Graveguard.
Yeah, it actually begins to get quite a few shots, but again, they just had too many Black Knights, and I am a Dwarf player. And then I had Demigryph Knights, which is why I was a little bit more freaked out too because of that. But again, I used my Runesmith the entire time to buff up my men to decrease overall damage and to do damage to them too. Like right now, he's buffing everyone up, and it's really good. And I kind of just hold strong. I mean, I'm a dwarf, they can't break me quickly, they can't break you quickly, and if they're engaging everyone at once, I mean, eventually I'm gonna wear them down because I can just take more damage.
And that's why I thought you would be pretty good at defending off this vampire account player, because like you said, dwarves are very hardy and they are going to stay in the fight a long time. You do have the runesmith to help you out, and you're destroying the middle. Like, your middle's fine right now.
Right. And my shield breakers did a lot too, or my iron breakers I should say. They were really incredible. Now, I find that people usually bring too many of them, but as you will watch throughout the fight, they end up getting a lot more kills. And Black Knights are just not very good. I'm actually very shocked he didn't bring Blood Knights. I mean, Blood Knights would not have helped against you or me because we have nothing that is large, but Black Knights are just not great. They're not good. You bring them because you have to, but they're not great.
I agree. I don't think they're amazing. I'm really glad that the Blood Knights are now in the game because I think they are useful cav. And right now I'm actually engaging with the Imperial main line, which is just a bunch of Grey Swords. I'm throwing a bunch of blasting charges at them to disrupt their lines while my Dwarf Warriors tank it out. And the Empire player also has 2 siege tanks in the back, which we have not really showed off much yet.
Oh right, yeah, they're way in the back now. I think they were actually tweaked a little bit. Weren't they buffed a little bit? I can't remember. I'm not too sure.
Honestly, I can't remember if the siege tanks were buffed. I haven't looked at that, with the Empire changes yet.
And right now, I'm fighting a vampire count player that brought in, strangely enough, 3 necromancers, a master one, and 2 normal ones, which is really weird because, I mean, you don't have enough magic to use that many spellcasters. I mean, 1 alone will do it.
Yeah, that's a very odd choice. Like, the only thing that you can really get by 3 necromancers is putting them all across your army and allowing their Master of the Dead trait to affect everything, which is going to give people slow regeneration. And regeneration was buffed in this patch, so that may not be a bad... I don't know if Master of the Dead was buffed, though, or if it's just units that have regeneration. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not too sure, too, and right now I've got my Lord in the middle of it. He's all alone, yet he's still fighting, and he's doing pretty well. My Runesmith, again, was just buffing people up the entire time. I'm beginning to get ready to flank my opponent. Now, that Necromancer on a Hell Steed was quite annoying. I did not really enjoy that, and I'm trying to get into position now. I didn't really get to use my cannon as much as I would like to. I think towards the end, I do use my cannon. Yeah, I'm beginning to move up on that right now, and they're going to shoot at the big chunk of Graveguard. The Graveguard are way too... grouped up. I mean, they're mashed up to where I can just take my time at surrounding them.
Yeah, this player did make a mistake at putting all of their people in one little death ball, and it doesn't really work for infantry that much, unless you're Cryptors and Karen Rays.
Right.
But they are not.
I'm looking at you fight the Demogryph Knights, and now you're beginning to shoot them. Wow, you just shot them up. Holy hell.
So yeah, this Demogryph Knight unit, you can see I have 2 Thunderers flanking on either side. It went for my Flame Cannon, which honestly hasn't been doing much lately, or in this battle, and it just kept ping-pong between the 2 Thunderers and got shot up in the middle, and those Demogryph Knights collapsed between those 2 Thunderer groups. It was beautiful. And now I'm shooting the back of the Great Swords with some flamethrowers.
Oh, hell, yeah, man. I mean, they're not getting a lot of kills, but I'm sure that's actually affecting their morale. Like, I'm looking at their morale quite a bit, and yeah, they're taking a lot of damage.
And they look so cool. Like, honestly, the flamethrowers don't do much against heavy armored units. They don't really have any armor piercing, but it still looks cool. And
yeah, it does.
That's all I really care about.
Exactly. And I think here's where we're beginning to win a little bit more. My cannon should be shooting right now at the big group of Graveguard. That or I'm hitting the steam tank. I can't remember. But yeah, I was a little bit worried in the very start, which I think is a little bit understandable. I am not really a Dwarf player, but I will try them more. I do want to try to get the Flame Cannon to work. I mean, I've been told that it works a lot better now. Clearly, we couldn't really try that out in this fight. I don't know if like you could really get that to work in multiplayer fights, though. I mean, you can't really let them come to you. The range is still way too short.
It's definitely a harder tool to use for the dwarves because of its short range, like you said. But yeah, I do want to try it in the future because it was buffed, like you said, and I think potentially against certain armies it can do really well, like that Death Star that we keep talking about for the vampire counts. I think it can do really well against those.
I'm looking at it right now, and you're beginning to flank them with your Iron Drakes, and they're just shooting them up right now. And that steam tank, yeah, they're just kind of getting a lot of kills, but I mean, they're not close enough to actually cause terror. And if you're gonna bring a steam tank, yeah, you want them to shoot, but you also want them to cause terror. They're buffy and tanky as hell. They're tanky as hell, and you would want them to soak up a bit of damage, but no, they kept their tanks in the very back, and that really didn't help out the Imperial player at all.
Not at all. In siege tank fights, I think it's best if the siege tanks are directly behind your infantry line, because like you said, that way they're going to be in range for their fear and terror effect, which is something that they do have, but did not get utilized in this battle. I don't even know if that player realized that they have fear and terror, to be honest, or else or they just didn't care.
Now, my guys are all grouped up, so he's beginning to get quite a few kills, and I did notice your Iron Drakes have killed a lot of their own kind in our current fight. They killed a few of your men, and they killed a bunch of mine too. Huh.
But they went down in a blaze of glory. It's fine.
Right. Yeah, great. Alright, we're reaching the very end now, where you're beginning to end the Empire player.
Yeah, I got a couple shots off on these Grey Swords that are going to be chasing me, and I'm going to send a group of Dwarf Warriors here to intercept them soon. And really all they have left are the siege tanks at this point, and they are unbreakable, so we're going to have to destroy them.
Yep, and right now I'm finishing off the Necromancer, one of many. And there are many, there's always many. Here they go. Do you know what we need to do at some point? We should probably do a stream for multiplayer. Be like, hey, come fight us IRL.
Yes, come fight us IRL.
Yeah.
That could work. The problem with streaming, I've thought about this before, the problem with streaming is that sometimes it just takes a long time to get a multiplayer game going at all.
Yeah, but
there's going to be a lot of waiting around.
Well, like the change up though is that we would let people know the stream or like the game room name, and they would join then, and it wouldn't take as long then.
That's true.
Yeah, I've had a few people bring that up, which is why I did bring that up, because a lot of people have gone, hey, you should probably do that. But oh my god, that tank went right through my men. Or no, your men, your dwarves.
It's a hefty machine.
Ah! Look at that.
But I think your cannons are shooting it up right now.
Yeah. As usual, my cannon is kind of, yeah, I have 2 crews left like in our previous fight, and they're shooting a lot, and they're doing a lot. Steam tanks are fun. I wanted to have a all tank fight, but those are actually pretty boring because they end up going close range and ramming each other over and over, which is not as fun to watch.
Yeah, I saw a video you released of that exact thing happening. It was just a bunch of steam tanks in the middle of a map pumping each other.
Yeah.
It was an odd sight.
Yeah, that tank at the very end just began to mow right through my men, man. Like, he's just like, oh my, wow. Rude, all right?
Steam tanks are powerful. They really are.
But like, it's more of a thing to see now that there is blood, so it actually feels like they are not just doing a dry hump. Now it's a wet hump.
Oh god.
What? Huh?
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. These steam tanks, they're getting destroyed.
Eventually, one day, man, come on. We got it.
And then there's just the one in your army now.
Yep. I'm waiting. I'm trying.
Shoot it up with a bunch of crossbows.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. The battle finally ended. But again, a lesson to always learn for every multiplayer fight is that you need to really think about what you can micromanage, and you want to use everything together. And even if you're not able to talk to your teammate, because I will say that, like, usually when Tokshen and myself play, we're actually pretty quiet. Like, we will relay a little bit of information here and there, but we're actually not talking the entire time. We're focused on trying to micromanage because it's a very fast-paced game. So we're just trying to make things work. But even if you don't know who you're playing with, like, these 2 guys went for very elite builds, but they didn't really work together. You definitely need to at least try to join up with your teammate and work from there.
And also, you just need a lot of tools at your disposal. Like you said, they went for an elite build, but the line of greatswords, even though they got a lot of kills, I had so many more dwarves than they did. I had more tools to use that it wasn't enough. Things like greatswords and demigryph knights and steam tanks, they're all kind of more supportive role. You still do need bodies on the floor. A really common tactic is for your swordsmen to put spearmen in front of them. The spearmen will take the charge of the enemy, and then your greatswords can charge in behind the spearmen, and they're not going to get that charge from the enemy infantry, so they're going to be tougher in the initial fight. And so try that.
When I look at it now, you actually would have had a harder time had he brought in the steam tanks from the very start. Now, yeah, you could have shot them up, but I mean, look at the kills of these steam tanks. They got a lot, but that was only at the very end when everyone else died. Had they brought them in the very beginning, then that would have changed things up. Because I mean, if we look at what they did to your lines, man, you weren't really able to get a lot of kills in a melee fight outside of your Longbeard group, or your Longbeards with a great weapon. And that definitely could have changed things up. But again, you had a guy who brought in a bunch of tools who didn't use all of the tools together.
Exactly. If they brought in the steam tanks, like you said, it could have been a different fight.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot more routing at the very least.
Right. I mean, we still would have won, but still, I mean, it would have been a different fight. And here, the Vampire Count player upgraded everything that he had, but Black Knights are not worthwhile. You do not want to bring in 4. That made me a little bit perturbed at the very beginning, but they have no staying power. They don't really have a lot of charge, and they're not going to beat me in a pitched fight. So, I mean, like, what can you do? And when you're fighting 2 dwarf players, eventually you will have to fight. I mean, they had too much to fight us hand-to-hand. You don't want to fight us hand-to-hand. That's like the last thing that you want to do. We're going to grind you down. We're short, bearded, bald people, all right? And it's just not going to work out. And he brought in a Terrorgeist alone in the very start. So, again, we're not trying to rag on any one player because that is not kind to do, but we are trying to point out what can be done better so that when you all play, that you can also do better at the game too. Anyway,
yes.
Thank you for watching. Yep. Go on.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.